DIADOZ.
All right. This is DIADOZ podcast. I don't know what episode this is. And we are here with my good friend Alden. How you doing?
Good. How you doing, man? Thanks for having me.
Of course. So where are you tuning in from right now?
I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Hey, shout out. Full disclosure to everybody listening. Me and Alden went to high school together. And now he's doing big bad things, doing the freelance thing with video and just like a bunch of multimedia, actually.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about what you do. What do you do? What are you? What do you consider yourself?
My email signature says, well, I have a couple of emails. One says that I'm an adventure filmmaker. The other one says I'm a producer. And then I also run a wedding photography and video business with my wife.
Dang. So
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest things that I feel like our listeners are really interested in hearing, or hopefully maybe in the process of doing, is trying to be freelancers themselves. So
Okay.
first give us a little background on, like, I guess your background, your schooling, where you went to school, and how you kind of made that transition, deciding to be a freelancer.
Yeah. So I went to Point Park University and got a degree there in cinema production.
Mm-hmm.
And that they gear that a lot towards straight up filmmaking.
Right.
And going to Hollywood and working on big movies.
Mm-hmm.
But I was interested in more of the business aspect of things.
Mm-hmm.
And so right after I graduated, I started working at a production company as an editor.
Mm-hmm.
And that company got bought out, merged with the bigger company, and the bigger company and I did not mesh that well.
Right.
But I didn't really know that freelancing was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until I had started working at the bigger company that I started meeting freelancers and realized that it was totally a viable option. And so after about 9 months total,
Mm-hmm.
after graduating, I'd been doing editing for 9 months, and then I decided, I was like, all right, I hate working at this office, so I'm going to try to be a freelancer, and we'll see how it goes.
Dude, I remember that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. It was tough. Yeah, at first I was just an editor, and freelancing as a straight up editor is kind of hard if you don't have a lot of connects.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was tough for the first year.
What were you doing in the beginning?
So I connected with one of the guy that gave me my first job, he was the owner of the company that got bought out.
Mm-hmm.
And he had left in the merger. He left to do his own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I first left the office job, he was like, well, you can come work for me as a freelancer
Mm-hmm.
if you want. And so that's what I did, and that was maybe 50% of my time. And from there, I just tried to network and become friends with people that had jobs and would be able to pay me money.
Right. So
Yeah.
I mean, I remember seeing you not that far off from college, just going into just doing. I forget, but there was either a series of posts or just a big post where you're just like, I'm out of this.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this, and I'm gonna take an adventure and do freelancing shit. But I knew you
Yeah.
weren't at home. You weren't in Charlestown, West Virginia. You were still in Pittsburgh. So
Right.
how was how did you get by? Because that's the one thing, right?
It wasn't easy.
Uh-huh.
I had student loans, racked up some credit card debt, which is not a good thing. But yeah, I was really grinding.
Mm-hmm.
And working all the time. I didn't have a good sleep schedule. I would work, maybe 10, 12 hours. If I was late on a project or if the deadline was the next day, I would stay up all night and get it done. And then a few months after I started freelancing, I moved into my van and to save on rent. And
Right.
yeah, and so then that made things a little bit easier, but also a little harder, because the van didn't really work, so it was sort of stationary.
Yeah, yeah,
So I
yeah.
couldn't like drive around, and so it made things easier in a monetary sense, but then it was harder. If somebody had a job and they wanted me to come shoot, I had to either like it had to be in biking distance, or I had to like make sure that I could get a ride with somebody before I could accept the job,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing.
We were
So
doing was Pittsburgh a good place to do that, to find like work?
um, to find work, yeah, it's not bad. Um, there's definitely like a freelance community, but a as I have learned, the big jobs come, and they come pretty frequently, but they only go to the same like two or three people at the top in their little lane.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you want to, and then even when you get those big jobs, you have no say over what it is.
Right,
Like,
right,
I was usually, when I could get editing jobs pretty consistently, but they were never anything I was really excited about.
right, right.
It was, a corporate video for a healthcare company or for an airline or something like that. And, it was great because I was making ends meet and enjoying it in that regard, but it wasn't like work that I was excited about. It wasn't the stuff that I wanted to get into. And I quickly realized that like you have to be the person that's out there trying to get the jobs if you want to make the kinds of videos and work that you're interested in.
Right. And that's really important, like when you're trying to, you know, say, fuck you to a corporate, life, and not do the work that you
Yeah,
don't want to do. But then
right.
you see yourself doing freelancing, and slowly also, did you feel like you hated some of the work that you did, or you feel like you didn't like?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. No,
So
I mean I've very quickly like I still do a lot of editing because I think it's something I'm pretty good at, and I
mhm.
can get a lot of jobs doing it that way. But I don't really like editing anymore,
Yeah.
and like unless it's a project that I'm really excited about, then I can get amped and definitely enjoy it. But like in general, if I had the option to shoot something or edit something, I'm 9 times out of 10 gonna pick shooting.
I feel you. I
Because
feel you.
even if it's boring, even if it's like a corporate video, it's still way more fun than editing.
Word. Okay, I think I kind of like jumped the gun and just went straight into like what you're doing a little more than I intended to. But
Okay.
I want to roll back a little bit to
Yeah.
before
Yeah.
college. I want you to talk about we went to high school together.
Right.
How was it? How was your background growing up, and how did you get into film? Because I know you were into film like before anybody that I knew, for real.
Yeah. Um, I like growing up. I never really. I would when they would ask what do you want to be when you grow up, I never had a good answer
Mm-hmm.
until I saw the movie V for Vendetta,
Okay.
and uh, and when I was watching that, I was just like really enthralled by it. There was some really cool filmmaking in it and really good storytelling, and I was like, whatever they're doing, I want to do that. I want to figure out how they do that, and like that's a job that you can actually get paid to do. It just fascinated me, so I started like watching more movies and learning whatever I could, however I could.
Mm-hmm.
I started like I got a little handy cam that we filmed a ton of stuff on, and I learned how to like taught myself how to use iMovie, and then got Final Cut and learned that a little bit, and then took in high school we had a really good TV video class,
Mm-hmm.
and so I learned a lot more of how to edit there, and then we got some better equipment as well, and yeah, the TV video class I think really set me up for success the most, because like had we not had that class, I I don't know, I don't think I would have seen I would definitely wouldn't have like figured out how interested I was in it, because our phones weren't good at video cameras,
Right.
like they are today. I don't even know if the original iPhone could actually shoot video.
Yeah, I was
Um,
in that class. I remember we had that huge ass camera and like all that
yeah,
gear that the camera needed,
right.
also I look back and I'm like the quality wasn't even that good for such a huge
No.
camera. uh,
Yeah, yeah,
so yeah, I mean I remember being in that class. Uh, uh, you won a lot of awards through some of the video submissions for like our local film competitions and stuff.
right, right.
Um, and that was pretty dope. And then so I remember you were also super into that class, trying to apply to NYU. I remember that.
Yeah.
Uh, and I, did that work out? Did the NYU thing work out?
No, I got
You
rejected.
got
Absolutely.
okay. You got
Yeah,
rejected. Okay, I wasn't sure.
yeah,
I remember you were trying to make your portfolio, so you got rejected, and
yeah,
but that still pushed you to just be like, yo, I'm just gonna go to school for film and for anything else. Like there was
yeah.
never a plan B for you.
Not really. I mean, it definitely helped. I think I don't know if it was the same day or like it might have just been the same week, but I got rejected from NYU, and then Point Park accepted me and gave me a huge scholarship. And so I was like, well, Point Park likes me, so I'll just go there and do it that way. But yeah, I mean, there was never like in high school there. I remember point blank, my counselor told me that I was stupid for trying to do film and that I would never make it, and I would like it's not a real job that I'd be able to do. And
What?
that to me, yeah, that to me was just like, no, screw you. This is just even more reason for me to go do it.
At Point
Um,
Park in college?
no, at Washington.
Oh, okay, okay. Sorry, I thought you said Point
Yeah, yeah,
Park.
yeah.
What the
No, sorry.
fuck?
In high school, one of our counselors told me that.
That
So
is stupid. I didn't know
yeah,
that.
yeah, yep. So yeah, that was even more push. Like there were people that I looked up to, like Mr. Perks was the original TV video teacher,
Mm-hmm.
and he had finessed. Oh, sorry. He had finessed.
Gotta get that background
Lost.
nice.
Sorry, brother.
Nah, you're good. Hey,
Mr. Perkins,
Mr. Perks.
Mr. Perks was he was the original TV video teacher, and he like had a good setup going where it seemed to me like he had a good life, and he taught TV video, and he worked as like the head of the communications or whatever for the whole school board.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, that's one way that it could go. Like still be involved with video and everything,
Right.
but not necessarily like having huge aspirations.
Right, right.
And then there was even like a small time where I really looked up to our biology teacher, Mr. Otto,
Mm-hmm.
and I was really into biology, and I was like, I could see myself being a biology teacher. That lasted for like 2 weeks,
Yo,
but
Mr. Otto was fucking cool. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, no, he was the best.
I swear he was probably like on some shit when he was teaching. Probably not, but I mean to be that cool in high school, I don't know, man.
Yeah, well, he had those stories about like when he was he like worked for the Peace Corps over in Africa, and he like stopped somebody from getting raped and got stabbed, and
What?
he had all these crazy stories. You never heard all that?
Not really. I mean, were we in the same class?
I had him in three different classes.
Yeah, I had him for only
So,
one class, and I feel like he hated
okay.
my class. He would just like fucking not like he knew the material he was teaching us was over our heads. I feel like I was in the dumb
Yeah.
class when I was at Mr.
Yeah,
Otto.
yeah.
Um,
No.
but yeah, I remember Mr. Otto,
Yeah.
and I remember Mr. Perks. But yeah, so you were in high school, no, not really like any aspiration for other things. Um,
No.
anything else that you did like in high school other than film?
I mean, like in regards to like what I thought I would do later on in life, or
Right, right.
just in general.
Yes, sorry.
No, I mean, like we played sports. You and I played soccer together. I played tennis, and But like I you know, that I never tried out to play on college or anything like that. It was always, video was definitely the thing that I was most interested in, and I thought that you know, I was motivated by the fact that like not that many people get to like direct movies and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that just motivated me. I was like, I'm gonna be the one that's gonna work hard, and you know, this is my dream, and I'm just gonna keep working at it until I make it happen.
Word.
And so like when the counselor was like, no, you can't do that, I was like, that's just even more fire for me, you know.
So you go through high school, you give a middle finger to that counselor, you go to school for
Yeah.
film anyway, you get out of school, you start this job, you're like, I don't like this job, and now you are uh, in a van trying to find
Yeah.
freelancing jobs
Yep.
to sustain your life and sustain your dream of
Yeah.
just filming shit, making shit.
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
uh, you know, being in a van uh, and trying to make ends meet for something like creative on a freelance tip, what made you think that could happen? Like, what made you think that can be possible for you?
Just like in general, like
Yeah,
how was
like
I gonna
yeah, like how are you making it work?
I mean, like down in the nitty gritty, I worked at a co-working space.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had a permanent desk there, and it had a full kitchen, laundry, shower. So I basically lived there, and just like I did all my cooking and showering and laundry. The only thing I didn't do there was sleep. So I would always go to my van at the end of the day and sleep. But yeah, it like looking back, it wasn't great. You know, it would have been fine had the van moved. That would have been a game changer. But
Right.
I mean, yeah, in you know, just the working aspect, you know, it was always you know, it was always like paycheck to paycheck, like things were always tight. But if I could find the next job, that would lead to the next job and the next job. And if each time I tried to pivot it in a way that it would be more of the ideal job, I would be that one step closer
Mm-hmm.
to hitting the goals. And that is pretty much how it's gone up even till now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's, you know, you try to get the next job and try to make it a little bigger than the last job, and you try to make the final video like 10 times better than the last video. And
You always
yeah,
hear about like freelancers not getting paid in a timely fashion. Did that happen to
yeah.
you?
Oh yeah, it still happens to me.
All right.
Yeah.
But I imagine it was way harder when you were just starting out, like in a van.
Yeah. Yeah, well, like when I started out, I didn't really know anything about running a business.
Uh-huh.
That was definitely the hardest part. Was that, you know, I had the skills to make videos, but
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea how, like how I didn't know that you're supposed to send an invoice, that you were supposed to sign contracts for the projects. Like I didn't actually start doing contracts until last year, you know, and
Whoa.
yeah, and I
How does it
just, you know,
feel?
I feels great now, especially because of COVID. You know, my contracts have a force majeure, so like I there wasn't anything that bad that happened from this situation other than having no work. But like, had somebody been like, you signed like, we have a job, you have to come out and film this thing, I could say, nope, my hands are tied, we're under the state of emergency, and you can't. Like, the contracts definitely just provide a big peace of mind to being like, your ass is covered, you don't have to worry about somebody trying to sue you. Or like, I'm pretty much paid on time now because the contracts have it laid out to be like that, you know. But I mean, I definitely, like, when I was first freelancing, I'd be lucky if I got my payment within like 2 months of finishing the job.
Right. And was there like an event that like sort of made you be like, okay, I should start doing contracts?
My wife was always on me about it. You know, she's been she has a better business education than I do in
Oh,
that
I see.
regard.
I
So
see.
she was always like, why don't you have contracts? You're crazy. And yeah, it was never really like one thing, but it was when it changed, when I changed my my way of working from being an editor that would find videos to edit for somebody else. Excuse me. When I went from finding videos that somebody had already shot to being the person to talk to the client and shoot the thing and probably edit the thing as well, I felt like, you know, that was when I had the entire control of the situation, and a contract was necessary to make sure that everything happened as it should. You know, when I was just the editor, I was just the editor. So, if, you know, all I had to do was turn in the edit on time, and nothing bad would happen.
Right. Okay. Dope. So,
Yeah.
let's get into some of the projects that you work on. So,
Okay.
you said your email bio says adventure filmmaker, and
Yeah.
you know, maybe you consider yourself something else, or you don't know. Tell us about like the projects that you think characterize you, or your favorite ones. Tell us about something.
Yeah. I mean, the ones that I enjoy filming the most are like just anything that has to do with being outside or adventure sports, that kind of thing. So that's what I am really personally interested in. But I'm also really into music, and so music videos have been a thing that I've gotten into more and more over the last few years. I used to just edit music videos, and then last year I started shooting a lot of music videos as well. And I shot a music video with you guys, so that was fun.
Yeah. Okay. Now that you mentioned it, tell us about the music video you shot for us for Thailand for OG
Yeah,
Legit.
right. Yeah, that was, you guys contacted me out of the blue, and we're like, do you want to shoot a music video for us? And I said, yeah, absolutely. I think that was almost 3 years ago, probably, right?
Yeah. It also took us a while to put it out.
Yeah.
We're also trying to figure out some business stuff
Yeah.
from our end. But yeah, I wasn't able to make it, but I saw like what was that the first time you worked with a rapper?
That was the first time I shot with a rapper. Yeah,
And
'cause I had edited rap videos before, and I'd shot other types of music videos, but that was the first one of like shooting for rap specifically.
how did you approach that project differently than before?
That was so like that was sort of when I was starting to take more control of the shoots, going from not just being the editor to like being the director and the shooter
Right.
as well, and bringing in more aspects of, or taking on more aspects of the production. So Tylon and Maro and I like created an idea to put around the like when the music videos, the way I shoot, there's like the verse footage, so it's just like the rapper rapping straight to the camera, and then there's like the B-roll, the story. So we created a story around the song itself, and so I like had, I don't know if I had a real shot list, but I had an idea of the shots I wanted to get, and that kind of thing. But it was definitely an interesting learning experience, because I wasn't that good of friends with Maro and Tylon. Like we knew each other for sure, but it's definitely interesting, like going down to WVU, and I wasn't familiar with Morgantown, so they were just like taking me all over the place and saying like, all right, we got to film this part here, and it was definitely like we had, I think, 12 hours to do the whole thing.
Shit.
And so we were just
like
flying
trying to
around
catch
like crazy.
Right. And I fucking knowing Thailand was probably I don't know. You guys probably thought of stuff last second
Yeah,
to do.
absolutely.
Yeah, but I mean, to your credit, I think that video came out pretty nice.
Yeah, I'm happy with where it ended up.
It was very nice. It was very nice, but also I think we should have dropped it sooner because it would have been more hype. I think we held it too long. But anyway,
Yeah.
um, So that was a pretty interesting project that I remember that you did. Another interesting project that I remember that I saw was that video, that commercial you shot for John Geiger. I think that's how you pronounce
Yeah,
his name.
yeah,
So tell us about that, because I feel like a lot of people know who John Geiger is as a shoe designer. They probably bought one of his
yeah,
shoes or know of him online.
yeah.
How did you become involved in that project?
So I was like very loosely involved. I shot that drone shot, and that was pretty much it as far as me
Mm-hmm.
being involved. But my friend, I have friends Cody Baker, Ben Petchel, and Jordan Armstrong. They had been contacted by John Geiger to create a whole campaign around. I think it was the Pittsburgh shoe that he was releasing,
Mm-hmm.
the black and white or the black and yellow colorway. But so he like they helped him design the billboards that were going up around town, and so they like took the photos for the billboards and designed the billboards, and then filmed content, like did time lapses of the billboards going up, and like a handful of other things, and they created all this media, a whole marketing plan around the release of that shoe. And my friend Ben was supposed to do the drone shot himself, but he had crashed his drone, I think, and
Uh,
it was like November. He called me one day and he was like, "I need you to shoot this tomorrow because the video has to go out in 2 days." And I had like just gotten a drone and was just like getting used to it. And so Ben was just like, "Can you? It's gonna snow. Do you mind flying in the snow?" And I guess somebody else that he had asked was like, "Absolutely not. I won't fly in the snow." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll do it. Whatever." And so yeah, I mean that was like one of the. There are definitely projects like that where you're very loosely involved, and I literally had 2 phone calls, showed up for 30 minutes of flying the drone, and then passed off the footage, and somebody else edited it, and that was it.
right. And I think that commercial came out, super dope. And like I knew, like I've definitely seen John Geiger Instagram and images of his shoe here and there. I wasn't too familiar with his stuff when I saw him, but then I saw that you were you put this up, and I saw that the billboard looked pretty dope, and then I looked into him more and I was like, whoa, this is like a big deal in my perspective. You probably maybe worked with bigger clients and for bigger projects, but uh, would you say that was like a relatively big client for you?
Yeah, that was definitely big at the time. Um, I when I was first freelancing, just doing editing, the producer that I was working for, he was doing some like internal videos for Spirit Airlines and Ram trucks,
Mm-hmm.
and so like that was really cool right out of college to be like, yeah, I'm editing videos for Spirit and Ram, um, and it that it being a little small town boy from West Virginia, it seems really cool to get to work with those big brands.
Yeah.
But then as you get deeper in with the industry, you realize that everybody's working with those brands in one way or another.
Right. Right.
And like that doesn't ruin it. It's still super cool to, I've flown all over the country and to a bunch of places in the Caribbean to film for Spirit Airlines, and like, it you definitely, it's not as cool as it originally was to be working for Spirit, but the work itself is still fun. And I went to Colombia twice in 2 months last year to work for Spirit.
That's pretty dope.
So like that, yeah. So like that stuff, it doesn't go away. But I think the thing that has been more interesting is like working with celebrities occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
They like almost don't want the attention.
Right.
Like I didn't actually talk directly to John Geiger ever.
R-
So I don't know what he was like, but
right.
I've made it. I filmed Ryan Shazier opened a milkshake factory, and so I filmed him at the event, and he was just like a normal dude. And my friend afterwards, who got me that job, was like, he likes you because you didn't make him out to be some superstar. You know, you were just like treating him like a normal person.
Nice.
I was like, yeah, why would I treat him like anything else? You know?
Right. Yeah, I mean that's super important. Do you think like people who go out, like, do you think that's people who want to do video and want to do freelance, like, uh, and work with like bigger name, like maybe celebrities or maybe bigger brands and companies, like how do they go about, like how would they go about, uh, do you think, here, let me rephrase my question. Um, if someone were looking to work with, celebrities or bigger brands now, how would they try to get to that?
Yeah. There's it's kind of tricky because there's not like a straightforward way to do it. You know, um, it really changes from company to company. Like there are certain brands, they market, or they farm out all of their marketing to agencies,
Mm-hmm.
and so like you have to, if you want to work with certain brands, you have to basically be a freelancer that works for the agency that it was hired by the brand.
Mm-hmm.
But I've also had good luck and success with just like sending DMs to brands
Mm-hmm.
that I wanted to work with, or cold emails
Who who
to
who
different
who has
brands.
that worked with? The cold emails and
Um,
DMs.
Definitely the smaller brands. There's some like niche outdoor companies that I've worked with. I posted a video the other day, hummingbird hammocks,
Mm-hmm.
and that was just a straight up, hey, your hammocks are cool, I want to make a video. And then they were like, it changes every time. They didn't have any budget, but they were like, we'll send you $1,000 worth of hammocks. And I was like, all right, we can make that work.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah, and like that's not sustainable in the long term, but it was cool to do, to do one off. And like the thing that I was looking for there was I wanted full creative control.
Mm-hmm.
And in that situation, it was, I basically got to make whatever video I wanted to make. They every time I sent a new cut, they were like, yep, that's great, looks good.
Does it seems like you kind of like kind of balance out your work to where you have some projects that you do because you still have to make ends meet. You need to get your bills paid, and you want to do certain work, and you might not necessarily love doing that work maybe. And it seems like, and
Yeah.
then you diversify your other creative time, with still maybe getting some sort of exchange, but having something where you do have full creative control, or you're trying something new. How what is like how do you balance that, or what is the balance
Yeah.
there?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's just like you said, you have to get enough work if you're trying to do full-time freelance filmmaking, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have enough work to meet your bills, and unfortunately the companies that usually pay better don't want to do cool videos. They want to do the thing that they've done for year after year, because they know it works for them, and like that's good for business, I guess. So, and they still are willing to pay. So, I load up my schedule with that kind of work, and then in my free time to keep my sanity and stuff, I'll find different passion projects that I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's doing music videos for a friend who is trying to make it, or going like, and on a lot of my travels, I've filmed those and tried to turn those into different types of films.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just, I enjoy filmmaking for the fun passion project things, and I'm the type of person, there certainly are people that could have a normal office job and, just in their free time do filmmaking, but that's not me at all.
Right.
I get crushed at an office job, and, the corporate videos might not be fun, but they're 10,000 times better than sitting at the office.
Right.
So then it's it's using the skill that I've learned and somewhat mastered to pay the bills, and I get to make my own schedule and do whatever I want in that regard. But it's the passion projects that you do in the free time, or like for a gear exchange or something like that are what keep you going.
Okay. I do see this with a lot of younger artists online, like they're graphic designers, videographers, photographers. They feel like they're so deep into their passion, and then at some point they're like, I've lost all my passion for my art, like for art or for like this thing that I'm working on. Or what have you ever felt that way? Have you ever felt like you've lost a certain passion? Like, I know you mentioned, like, just to keep my sanity type of thing.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt that way? And what is your advice
Yeah.
for kids, younger people,
Yeah,
or anybody, really?
Yeah. So I used to film everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like I always had my big DSLR with me and would film everything that happened throughout the day. And it was mostly to like make little Instagram videos.
Right.
And there was a certain time. There was a little period in between my freelancing career where I did have an office job, but it was okay because it was I was doing freelancing, but basically just for one company.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in the middle of the year that I spent at that company where I sort of stopped filming everything, because I sort of found myself trying to film my everyday life at the same caliber, the same production quality that I film like commercials that cost thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And I was spending so much effort on filming my everyday life that I eventually felt like I wasn't really present in the life.
Mm-hmm.
And so in a way I sort of got burnt out at that point because I was spending 8-10 hours a day at my job, then coming home and trying to hustle some freelance on the side to make extra money, and then also filming everything and trying to spend 2 to 3 hours editing all of that stuff. And as the filming my life and editing that was supposed to be the passion project that kept me happy,
Mm-hmm.
but it eventually ended up being the thing that like kept me up till 2 a.m, and my wife would not complain, but would, like she, as one would want to, she would want me to come to bed at the same time as her and like get a good night's sleep.
Right.
And I'd be like, no, I have to stay up and edit this film that I need to put out, and so I slowly started to realize like that the thing that I thought I was doing to keep me happy was not really keeping me happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I took a step back and just stopped filming everything, and I haven't really started again. It's probably been almost a year and a half since I was filming everything I did, and I definitely feel like I've been more present in my life, and I feel more fulfilled in that way. And I picked up new hobbies. Like I go rock climbing a lot more, and I have started doing long distance running. Things that I would always want to do but never had the time to do. But the upside there is that I've found that since I'm not spending all of my time filming and editing things, when I concentrate my time to actually film and edit things for commercially or for passion, I put more effort and a greater percentage of my concentration into those projects. And so before, where I was trying to produce everything at this level, but I was doing so much that it was at this level,
Mm-hmm.
that now, like when I'm doing, maybe not even a quarter of the amount of actual videos anymore,
Yeah.
but everything is at a much higher production quality, much more creatively fulfilled. And so it was really just, when I felt burnout, I took a step back and reassessed my values and like just it was like, why am I doing the things that I'm doing?
Word.
And it was good. It was great for me because, for 3 years I was just doing them because that's how I thought I would get ahead. And, I started doing them to get more practice and better efficiency with my camera and with editing. And I definitely accomplished that goal. But once I accomplished it, I didn't like rein it back and be like, okay, what's the next thing? I just doubled down and kept doing it. And it didn't continue to show progress in the end thing. It was just taking a toll on me.
Got you. And were there like any sort of uh, specific things that you did when reassessing? Like, I know it's kind of getting more granular, but like I literally just saw this on Twitter yesterday, where like a kid who does drawing was like, I feel like I lost my passion in my in art. But what were some of the specific things that you did, like, that helped you reassess and to redirect yourself?
Yeah. So, I mean, one of the things that definitely ended up happening was as I stopped filming my everyday life and focused more on my job, that's when I started to realize that my job wasn't actually fulfilling in the way that I thought it had been.
Mm-hmm.
And so then, after a few months, I ended up leaving that job and went back to freelancing. But the good thing there was that, since I had taken the step back and I wasn't just trying to make more and more content every day, I could reassess and say, okay, what are the things what are the kinds of content that I watch and enjoy, and that I would myself want to make. It was, it spent so much time making things that I hadn't had time to watch what other people were making, and
Right, I see.
and that kind of thing. So it was definitely like a reassessment of values and goals, to where for the first few years it was just get the paycheck every month, make sure that I'm not losing money, and that I can eat food and maybe go on a cool trip once or twice a year. And now it's much more of, okay, what are my long-term goals? Where do I see this thing going? Is, we can get real deep, but it's like there were times where it's like, is freelance sustainable? Can I be a 60-year-old dude freelancing and one day retire, or is it like, am I just going to keep this up and freelance until the day I die?
Yeah.
And never actually like save money, that kind of thing. And so yeah.
What did you end up answering? What did you end up answering for that question? I feel like people are scared to think that too.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think that definitely the thing. One of the things that I didn't realize really until last year was that I didn't quite value the work that I was doing at the right price point. Like, I'm not the kind of person that likes to talk about money and how much I should be making, or like, I'm just gonna do the job for whatever I think is fair, and
right.
But there's certainly a standard of what people are supposed to be paid for videos and all of that, and it changes from city to city and style of video. But I sort of looked at that and I was like, oh, I'm like way underselling myself in the things I'm doing.
You think that's a small towner thing?
I don't know. I think it definitely could be that a little bit, because.
Or do you think that's like a college student thing?
Well, no, I think the biggest thing I think it was the job that I got right out of college, they didn't pay me well, but I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it worked out to be, I want to say like $600 a week.
Whoa.
And yeah, and but the guy that had worked at that job before me, Like he graduated into a higher position at the company, and the position that was his, he was like, yeah, I used to get paid 800 a month, so you're lucky to get
Whoa.
600 a week.
Holy
Right.
shit.
Yeah. And so then I was like, oh, 600 a week. I'm like, I'm doing great.
Yeah.
And when the company got bought out, I got another raise, and I was like, I'm doing even better. And and it was just like things would like slowly work themselves up, but it got to a point where, like, I sat down and I was like, okay, if I ever want to buy a house, if I like want to have kids, like I'm barely able to afford food for myself, and I'm living in my van. I don't even like pay rent. So like I see people around me that are they're 5 or 10 years older than me. They're successful. They don't work nearly as hard as, or not hard, but nearly as many hours as I am. So how are they doing that? And I would talk to them and they'd be like, I'm sorry, how much are you charging? That's not like you're charging half of what you're supposed to be.
Right.
And it was just, I never had those conversations with people, so I didn't understand that, it's not even like, I mean, I was definitely being taken advantage of in some aspects, but I didn't push back on it. So I was a willing participant,
Yeah. And do you
Like,
think
I
that was a
thought,
bad thing at the time? Well, do you think that, looking back, do you think that was a bad thing for you to do? Or would you tell yourself to do something different? Or do you wish you would
yeah,
have done
no,
something different?
yeah. I mean, so like I always thought that asking for more money or pushing back on prices or anything like that was like a rude thing to do. And it's not until I've gotten deeper into like being a producer and seeing videos through from start to finish to like really understand how much money is required. Even if you're just doing it like just me, I do all of the steps. Like it's way more money than you would normally think. And then if you start to hire on more creative people to do jobs better than like to specialize in something that's not your specialty, you hire somebody there, they cost a lot of money. And so I just like slowly learned that. And as you learn what things normally cost outside of like I feel like I've always lived in this run and gun way or world where it's like, if I can do all the jobs, just me, myself, one man band, that's great. I'm saving money. I can charge the client. I can ask for less money from the client, which means I'm more likely to get the job, and then I get to pocket all the money because I'm the only one working on it.
Right.
But that's like the inverse of how you should think about it, because if you're saying that this is the price point, they're gonna think, oh, that's cheap. It might not be a great video, but I can afford it, or I can spend less money than I normally would. Whereas they might not be, the client probably wouldn't be opposed to paying what is the normal rate, and they'll get a better product out of it. So like in the last year, I've done a lot of asking for bigger budgets for more than what it should be, and then having a conversation with the client after you ask that initial number of, okay, what can they actually afford? What are their expectations for the video? And coming to the right budget number there.
I see.
But, I was always nervous of like, if I had an opportunity to get a video, I was nervous that if I said a number too high, that they would think I was rude for asking for that much money, and that they just wouldn't say anything to me.
So basically, you were afraid that if you negotiated anything, you would lose it. You would lose the opportunity.
Right.
Where
Right.
you came to the revelation that's like, actually, you sort of need to negotiate in order for them to value your work.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it happened several times where I would, maybe it was that I was going to be hired for a day to shoot something, and so I'm like, okay, this is a really cool project. I definitely want to be a part of it. So let me, say a little bit lower than what I would normally say, in hopes to fall in line with what their budget is and get that job. And after after 5 times of saying, hey, I'll do it for this rate, and they never push back, you think, oh, well, maybe they were going to originally offer me more money than what I told them.
Right.
And so it's it's also that too of like, trying to not show your cards.
What is your all right, let's do a little scenario, or not a little scenario. What are some of the tactics, specific tactics that you would employ when negotiating?
Yeah. So like right now, the big one that I do is like I said, I'll it's really important to have a good understanding of what the video, what the client wants the video to be. Because if you like don't have the right idea, then your budget probably won't be correct for what they want, and it's just going to be a nightmare after that. But so as long as I have, if I feel that I have a good idea of what they want, I'll create a budget that accounts for all of the costs that I'll have to incur, whether it's paying for myself or getting gas or paying for parking while I'm on a shoot. And then I'll add in so that'll be like the lowest number that I can do something for. And so then I'll add in a good buffer zone, which would technically just be profit, and then that's the number that I would give to a client, with the full knowledge that they're probably not going to be, they're probably not going to be okay with that first number that you see or that you show them. So if I'm like, okay, well, this video for me to not really make a profit would cost $1,500, then let me ask for $2,000. And through negotiating, we can work our way back to $1,700 or $1,600 or maybe ultimately $1,500, and sort of there's a psychology there where if you come in with a high number and they get to negotiate you down to a lower number, they feel like they've won. But if the number that you went in with was just a number to get them to negotiate, then at the end of the day, I'm the one winning because I get them to be near or maybe a little higher than whatever that lowest number is.
Dope. Yeah, I think
Does that make sense?
Super valuable. Right. Like, you go in with a number that you would be ecstatic for them to agree to, but they might not be happy, so they talk you down. But you had a high enough number, so the number that they talk you down to, you're still happy to get it.
Right. Exactly.
But you still have like a cutoff number. Has there been a point where you've turned down? Have you turned down anything like for budget for?
Not a straight up turn down. There was one music video that I did back in December, and the original idea was X. It was a normal video, and then as we started talking more and more, I pitched them like we had done videos together before, and so when it was just this normal video, I was like, yeah, okay, that'll be the same cost as the videos we've done before. And so as we like started talking about like, oh, we could do this and that to make the video this much cooler, and they were all about it, and I was like, well, that comes with at a different price point. And they, and I went really high because they had really huge expectations for the video, so I definitely didn't want to not meet those expectations, and so I went really high. I was gonna like hire a gaffer and a couple other people. Normally I just do it by myself for a music video, but I was like gonna hire an actual crew with this pie in the sky budget. And that immediately was like, they said no way, and we like walked down. They tried to go back to what the original budget was, and I was like, absolutely not. And we did a whole dance of negotiation, and it got to the point where the artist is just like, man, I can't do this for more than what the original was, and I said, well, then I can't personally make the video for less than this number. And it was I don't care saying numbers, but so it was like the cutoff number for me to not do the video was $2,000.
Right.
And I was like, and that is like sort of butchering what our original crazy idea was, because now at 2,000 I can't hire the whole crew that I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
and so then he sort of, the artist took a day and was like, I can't afford that, but if you know anybody that could make the video as good as you can for the original price that we talked about, can you let me know?
Get the fuck out of here.
I told him, I was like, hey man, you know, I don't know anybody that, like, I'm already discounting you X and Y, and like nobody's gonna deliver the same quality that I am for that low of a price. And so he took a couple more days, and then eventually he was like, all right, we can do 2,000.
Okay,
And so
I
that
see.
was
Wow.
one, but that was one where I was like, I guess I'm not doing this job, because I was hardlining at a price, and they weren't budging either. And so
Interesting.
I didn't need the work so bad that I would go below my minimum. And so I was like, nope, I'm holding here. And I
Interesting.
thought that
Interesting.
I thought it was gonna go badly, and then they eventually were like, all right, you're the guy to make this, and I'll pony up and I'll pay for it.
Dope, dope, dope. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, I guess so. You didn't. There wasn't, I guess, like a missed or a turn down, a real turn down on your side. You're such a nice guy.
Yeah.
You're such a
I mean,
nice guy.
I tried to be, man.
You got the charm.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think if there's one that I've really said no to for budget reasons. But I'm also a nice guy to a fault, because if it's a project that sounds cool enough, and I'm like, here's my minimum, and they're like, we really can't do that. Could you do this? If it's a cool enough project, then I'll say, yeah, that's fine. I'll do that. I'm trying to get out of that, but it's definitely project by project,
Yeah.
that sort of thing I'll take into consideration. If
You get.
it's
You definitely gave us that that good friend discount. Honestly, I
yeah.
mean, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you wanted to try something out different. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think if we're like, that was definitely when I still didn't know what to charge.
Oh,
So
okay.
you guys were one of the people that I said, here's my rate, and you were like, yeah, we can totally do that.
Yeah, yeah. No
And
negotiation there.
right, and but see, that's the thing is, I've definitely learned of, like, if somebody doesn't negotiate, then you're not asking enough.
Right, right.
But like, you've lost it once they say, yeah, that's fine. You can't, like, be like, actually, can we do $500 more?
Yeah, yeah. It's a bad
You just
look. It's a
you
bad
gotta
look.
file that away, and you gotta say, okay, I charged Renzo this much for a music video, and he didn't care. He was like, yeah, that's nothing. So then
Yeah.
I gotta make sure when I do the next music video, I gotta charge more.
Right, right.
You know?
Also, like it does. So it does work on both sides as well because for one, on your side, you give a rate, and if I agree immediately, then that's an indicator. It's like, okay, that might have been too low of a rate.
Right.
But if I negotiate further, even though we might have, you might have been giving me a low rate already. Um, Even if I negotiate and you're like, no, that stigma of giving too low of a rate isn't completely there anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Those I feel like those are some gems. I feel like those are some gems.
Good. That's
Um,
good.
let's talk about these music videos that you are making for this car dealership, Gabe
Yeah.
McNeil.
Gabe McDeal.
Uh, you have made three, I believe.
6.
Six. Whoa.
Yeah.
And this is
I
a.
haven't posted them all.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay, okay. Those videos are really dope.
Thank you.
I encourage everybody to check it out. Because I mean, in terms of car uh, dealerships, I have not seen that level of of production on a car dealership commercial, let alone
Yeah.
like just a single a guy, a car dealer man, like a person.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So how did that project come about? It seemed like a fun project.
Yeah. Um, yeah. I mean, so I worked with Gabe on a video maybe 3 or 4 years ago, right after I got out of college when he was doing a nonprofit that was teaching kids the importance of reading and learning through basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And so my friends and I made a video about his charity, and that was sort of a one-time thing, never went anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
He a few years later started being a car salesman, and he's a really smart guy. He like the concept and everything comes from him.
Mm-hmm.
He writes the raps. He understands that the music videos will get more eyeballs on him, which will eventually turn into more sales for him. And I think there are like 300 or 400 salesmen at the across the chain,
Mm-hmm.
and he's number 3. So it's like he knows what he's doing as far as marketing himself
Right.
over social media, and he came up with the idea of doing music videos that were the brand Cochrane. They sell 20 different car brands,
Yeah.
and so he came up with the idea of doing a music video for each brand. And it was, he posted about it on Facebook. He was like, I need somebody to make a video for me. And I just hit him up. I was like, hey man,
Shot the shot.
we had fun working together before. Let's do it again. And
Yeah.
yeah. But like it's been a great collaboration because he is definitely really smart on how to do marketing.
Mm-hmm.
But he gives me pretty much total freedom to do whatever I think is best for the video.
Right.
The one thing that he is really responsible for is in his original vision, he wanted to have animations in all the videos.
Yeah.
And luckily one of my friends is a good animator, so we were able to collaborate in that regard. But yeah, it's he'll send me the song and I'll listen to it and try to come up with a storyline or something, and something that'll make it unique. Sometimes he'll come up with ideas for different animations or visual effects.
The animations are dope.
Yeah, and
Who
I think they really set up.
Who is your friend that does the animations?
Dan Helbling.
Dan Helbling. Okay.
Yeah, so he and I did the Instagram Live a few weeks ago.
Oh, okay. Oh, that is the same. Is he the same person who you did the whole damnation with?
Yep.
Ah,
Same person.
Yo, pivoting from the car commercials, I think if people check it out, they're self-explanatory. They're pretty dope. Pivoting from that to the whole damnation. First of all, when is the whole damnation coming out? This has been a thing since like 2014, 2013.
2013, yep. It's gonna come out in 2020. Hopefully before the pandemic's over.
Nah, I'm just kidding, man. I mean, other than the whole damnation, you want to explain what the whole damnation is? Or?
Yeah, sure. So, freshman year of college, we had some really motivating professors that were like, "Go out there and make a movie." And like, they would tell us like we could win Oscars, and nobody's stopping us from making a movie. We have cameras that are good enough to do it.
Yeah.
So myself and 2 other guys were like, all right, yeah, let's go out there and make a movie.
Right.
And the 2 of them hadn't really left Pennsylvania before.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, well, let's go on a big road trip and film the whole thing, and we'll make it into a documentary. And Kickstarter was like just starting to be a thing.
Yeah.
Before everybody like took advantage of it, and now it's really hard to fund a Kickstarter or to fund a film on Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm.
We were able to raise a few $1,000s, which paid for mostly hard drives, but a handful of other pieces of gear for the filming.
Mm-hmm.
And we drove around the United States for a month and filmed every second almost. Like there's something like 600 hours of footage.
Where'd you go from Pennsylvania to?
From Pennsylvania all the way out to California, down to Texas and back. And stopped at every national park in between.
Was you at the time? Have you ever been to any of those places?
I had been to a handful of them. The summer before that, you know Joe and Greg, right?
Yeah,
Joe
yeah.
Infante and Greg Hawk. We had gone out to Colorado the summer before,
Oh, okay, okay.
and so I had seen a handful of places, but um, that was like I was also when Instagram was really big. It had like just
It
started
was
in
popping
2011,
off.
2012, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like getting really into like I did a lot of research on cool places to go out west,
Oh, okay,
and
okay.
and so I hadn't been to most of the places, but it was I had in mind where all we should be going, and
Right.
so yeah,
So, so as like you're this is like a really big project. You do a Kickstarter, but like, okay, it was dope. You shared a lot of your journey too, and I think there was a trailer.
yeah.
Uh, so what was the main reason like for a holdup? And this could also apply to a lot of people who also have like a big project that they've just been sitting in the back burner. Like, what are some of the things that you learned from doing like a big project like that and not completing it till years later?
Yeah. I think like a big part of it is we bit off more than we could chew.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's really easy to go out and drive around the country for a month and film
Mm-hmm.
everything. It's coming back and watching all of the footage and trying to be like, okay, there's not really a story here. We didn't have a story in mind when we went out other than going to see cool places. So how do we take this footage, make a story out of it, make it interesting? It's an hour and a half long, and so like you have to cut down from it was like 600 hours of footage down to 3 hours of a film, down to 2 hours of a film, down to an hour and a half of a film.
Yeah.
Um, and so like doing all of that um, took. Sorry, I think my camera shut off. But yeah, so yeah, um, the big thing with the whole damnation was that we just underestimated how long it would take to edit everything.
Yeah.
I think it took about 2 or 3 years to actually get down to about a 2 hour cut,
Mm-hmm.
and then another year to get down to an hour and a half. And then that was like when I really dove into freelance, and
Oh, okay.
it it sort of like freelance. I had a lot of free time in college to do the editing, but then once I was freelancing, it just my free time went to pretty much nothing.
That's a lot.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and so that's sort of what it's been for the last 3 or 4 years is I'll edit it here and there, but it's just been
Yeah.
really hard because I've been focusing so much on trying to be successful in freelancing that you run out of time to do passion projects, and when you do have time, it's a lot easier to focus on small ones than
Right.
the huge ginormous one.
Right, exactly, exactly. So, I mean, I feel like that would, that's like you've kind of put yourself through fire with that one.
Yeah,
And it wasn't from what I see, it wasn't the only documentary that you worked on. Um,
yeah.
what, what other, I guess, what has that like taught you and, to bring into other sort of, to start filming with other documentaries?
Yeah, I mean, so like that, it's the only feature length one that I've done,
Mm-hmm.
feature length documentary.
Which just means that it's like a long one.
Right, being longer than 80 minutes, I guess, is technically what a feature film is.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the only feature length one I've done, and I think the big thing that I've learned is that sort of with that introspective time that I was mentioning earlier, I don't watch that many feature length docs. I really like to watch ones that are like 25 minutes or shorter.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, with the stories that I want to tell, I think it's a lot easier to tell a more powerful story in that time, in the shorter time length stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's hard, you can't really make money on short documentaries,
Yeah.
but you can get a lot more people to see them.
Right.
So there's good and bad to all of it. But I'm sorry. I don't think I answered your question. I sort of forgot where I was going
No,
with that.
no, you're good. Honestly, forget that question. What are some what are some, because documentaries kind of uh you know bring out a story.
Yeah.
What are your approaches to doing those documentaries, uh, to sort of forge a story, to put it into into a video, to something where it sort of speaks to the soul? Because I feel like
Yeah.
that's what some of your documentaries do, especially the ones that I saw about. I think it was like Appalachia food, and I think it was like van life. I believe.
Hmm.
Did you do a doc on like vans?
I was the subject of one,
Oh, okay, okay.
but I was just the person living in a van for that
You
one.
were the subject of van life.
Yeah.
Okay, but
Yeah.
like the other one I mentioned, like Appalachian food shortage. So
Yeah.
what is your approach like to make
Yeah.
a documentary?
Definitely. I mean, the biggest thing is if you can know the story ahead of time, you can really guide the whole process of it. And so that was a commissioned film about the food shortage in Pittsburgh and the world. But it was, I the nonprofit that commissioned it came to me with the story that they wanted to tell, and so
Hmm.
I was in through lots of phone calls and conversations with the producer at the nonprofit. I was able to figure out what is the story they want to tell, how are we going to get there, and then what really I think helped with that one was the people that we interviewed. They were very vulnerable. They had all interacted with a food shortage in one way or another, and so you had to be really cognizant of that and not be. You had to be sensitive to a point of like, okay, this guy who's the main character, he still doesn't have a secure income. He still doesn't have secure food on his table every week. So you have to be really aware and sort of nurture that relationship. And I think the success from that documentary came from having good relationships with the subjects.
Right.
And that's sort of what I've tried to foster as I've been filming other ones is the in my past as somebody who would be like a hired gun for something, you just sort of show up, shoot it, and bounce, and sometimes you don't even interact with the subject. But I've found that it doesn't make the most economical sense to spend a ton of time with somebody, but if you can become their friend before you really start filming them, they're going to give you a much more genuine look into what their life is.
Right, right. What are some
You
of
know, like
the? Sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just like the main character of the food doc was, he and I we'd have conversations and hang out outside of just filming for
Hmm.
the documentary, and so he was able to both tell a really intimate story from his childhood, but also he like let me into his house to film him making food.
Right,
And
right.
like everybody else was really they were like, you want to come to my house and film me eating, like film me cooking and eating? That's
Yeah.
weird. But
Got you, got you. What? Okay, and to sort of maybe wrap this up. Last couple of questions. Uh, what are what is the most impactful moment in your film career?
oh man, that's tough. I don't know. There's been a good handful. Um, I think one of the ones that meant a lot to me personally was there was an opportunity to Outside Magazine was filming a short video in West Virginia, and the director was a friend here in Pittsburgh, and it was about rock climbing. And so he was like, you're the only person I know that can rock climb and film stuff really well. So can you be the guy that climbs next to the subjects and films them while they are climbing? And that was really cool. It was very special to be like, I've put in effort to get good at two things that I really enjoy, and now they're coming together to be able to do them, for one, at a professional level, but also like to make money. And the whole experience was, it was just a bunch of guys basically camping, and we happened to be working.
Nice.
That was a great experience.
Another question. How many hours of filming and editing do you think you've done? Or
in my
how
life?
many? Yeah, like how many hours have you filmed? How many hours have you edited?
I mean, like for fun and for work?
Yeah, for fun and for work.
Yeah, I mean, in total, I've easily spent more than 40 hours a week for the last 5 years of my life. I would say closer to 60 or 70 hours a week filming and or editing.
Shit.
I
don't know what the math is on that, but
I don't either, but yeah, it's definitely more than a normal 40-hour week.
Wait, let me just do a little.
We overheated again, Renz.
Oh shit.
Just now.
No, it's all good. It's okay. We can finish the interview voice.
Okay.
So congratulations on getting married.
Thank you.
That's very dope, and I feel like I definitely have more friends who are not married than married. So that's pretty cool. And how long have you and Hannah known each other?
We've known each other since 2013. We started dating in 2016, and we got married in 2019.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How has that, changed things?
Only for the better. I think, we were certainly really involved in each other's lives, but now that we've officially made a promise that we're gonna, be together forever, till we die and all that, we
just casual.
If anything, we just
just casual, just like till we die and shit.
Right. We're just, if anything, more supportive of each other. It's not like my girlfriend Hannah anymore. It's my wife, and I'm gonna do a lot for her to make sure that she's happy and chasing her dreams and being fulfilled, and she's doing the same for me. And so, we can help each other out when times are tough, or like, I don't have a ton of business right now with COVID, but she's thankfully employed through university, so like things are able to even out that way. Like the way that they even out financially, they also even out emotionally and supportively and all of that.
Dope. Yup, congratulations. That sounds awesome. I wish I could have been at the wedding. It looked fire.
Yeah, dude, it was. We missed you. It was a blast.
Word. So now you're at this place. You have a happy wife, happy life. You're in Pittsburgh. You have a crib now.
Yep.
You're not living in a van. What
Yep.
are you aiming toward now? Like, what are your goals and aspirations with your craft, with your personal goals? Like, what are you looking toward?
Yeah, I mean, on a personal level, I focus a lot more on my fitness now. Trying to do a lot of running and biking and that kind of thing. But professionally, I started a production company with a former coworker Davis Kimville, we started a company called Rocket Fuel Studios. So we had sort of crafted a creative partnership at that company, and we both left a few months apart from each other. But when he left after I did, it was sort of like, okay, well, we both want to keep doing the work that we were doing there. Why don't we do that together,
Right.
without the constraints that we didn't enjoy from that job.
Right.
And so now we're trying to create a sustainable business, which is Rocket Fuel Studios, where we'll do commercial and documentary filmmaking. And yeah, that's my version of, I don't want to freelance until I'm 65 and not have a retirement plan. I see Rocket Fuel becoming a thing where, it's not just me and Davis. We'll employ a handful of people, hopefully, in very long term, but get work that we enjoy doing, and be able to make money and save money and have a more routine life, if that's something that actually exists.
Dope. Yeah, man. I think that's dope. Good luck on your endeavors, and good luck. Hopefully, good fortune. More
Thank
good
you,
fortune your way and stuff. Hope you guys are doing well during these times too. I know a lot of people are suffering. Maybe not us directly, but we
Yeah.
might know other people, so it can get hard. Um, but yeah, I'm still trying to figure out the direction with this podcast under DIADOZ itself. But what I think that I want to do, and that me and Mauro kind of want to aim for, is to try to showcase creative people who are, in the business or have some sort of insight, or even just like young people who are in careers that we are interested in. Not necessarily, maybe not necessarily anything that has to do with media or anything like that. But, I don't know. But you work with us, and I think you're a great, fit, and we hope to have you again soon down the line after more work. Maybe we collab again soon too, for sure.
Yeah. No, thank you for having me. It's definitely a pleasure to be here, and I'm always happy to be on a podcast. It's a lot of fun.
Hey, all right. Well, I don't know when we'll have this up, but hopefully next week or the following.
Nice.
All right, man.
I look forward to it.
Be good. Be easy.
All right, man.
See you later,
too.
Man. Good luck. Good luck with everything. Tell Hannah I said what's up.
Man. All right, we'll do.
All right, man. Peace out.
Good talking to you, man.
You too, bro.
Bye.
Bye.